Hello and welcome. We have a Vox Super Foundation bass amp. And this is the second one of these that we've had on the channel. And these are quite rare, so it's a bit of a treat to get another one. This one is not in as good a condition as the last one externally. We've not looked inside yet. The other one wasn't great internally. We can see we've got a knob missing and we've got a couple of pots snapped off there before we start. So this is going to be an assessment video. I'm going to look at this amp, see what it needs, see if it runs, whatever. We're going to start it on the current limiter and just see what we get. So we'll start by putting a signal generator through it. We can't really put it through the other channel because we don't know, obviously the pots are snapped off on this channel. We just go up a bit. There we go, so you can see there, it's quite a big old beast. So if we go now, I've just got 200 hertz going through it, a little bit going through it because it gets a bit shrill with the 1 kilohertz. And as we're not using the scope, we don't really need it to be on 1 kilohertz. Right, the current limiter's on. We've got a low wattage bulb in there, 15 watts. Let's switch on. That's giving us, put that on. That's giving us 121 volts going into this amp. It's drawing a mere 40 milliamps. Well, the amp's running, as I can hear it, but we don't appear to have nothing. Let's try this one. This jack socket's quite cosmetically badly damaged as well. Maybe we just need a bit more voltage going into it. So let's have a look for another 15 watt bulb. Just let's take that out, put this 40 in. Need to go steady with this. Right, that's brought it up now. We've got 175 volts going through it. No pilot light showing on there. So I wonder if the preamp's out altogether. But we've got a good healthy noise coming through the speaker. But nothing on this preamp stage, and I'm sure this is plugged in. No, nothing. Nope, not a bean. So we've got no input, but we've got output. Now the preamp stage plugs into the power amp stage, so there's like a plug that inside, so maybe there's a fault with that, not sure. But even at 174 volts we are a bit light on voltage, but I'm sure we'd have got something by now. I'll stick that 15 in with that and then we'll have 55 watts current limiting, and that pumped it up a bit more to 188, so now we'd have something by now. We're not that far off full voltage. Try the other channel, nothing. So the fact that both channels are dead and we've got no pilot light on there suggests to me that we're not getting any power to this preamp circuit. Could be wrong. Right, we better crack it open, hadn't we, and see what's going on inside. But at least it runs. So we're looking at the back, and all that was holding that on was a wood screw, a slot screw, and one Phillips screw in opposite corners. So we need some decent back screws for it, and the cup washers, we've got those in stock. So for anyone who's looking at this, there is a website with a lot of these listed, the serial numbers listed. There's quite a good website for these amps, and you can see this is 2761. So that's the serial number, 2761. If anybody's counting, Foundation bass. So that's that. So the first thing we find in here, and we're just going to have to bring the camera down. So the first thing we find with this is this. So that's not a good sign. No idea what that's about at all. So now we have to, if I can remember how these come apart now, as I say, I've only ever done one. It was probably a year ago now, nearly. Let's just lift it up. It's a big old bus. Well, there appears to be no fixing screws in the bottom. They've been removed. So let's see if it'll slide out. Let's just see if it'll move. And it will. So, oh, it will at that end. Ouch. And it will at this end. So this is a bit of a big old thing to get out. So what I'm going to do is, I'll go off camera now. I'm going to get this out its case, then we'll get it on the bench and we can have a look. Right, we're just having a look inside here, and as I suspected, this wasn't plugged in at all. I'm guessing these might be for the pilot light. Those two wires there, and they probably what went into that block connector. Don't remember that on the other one. There was, as I say, no bolts in the bottom. I can only see one bolt holding this side, one nut, sorry. I can see the bolts for both, one nut, but on this side I don't see any bolts. So this already is beginning to look, and we'll have a look at the output, the power amp section in a minute, and I can tell you that doesn't look great at all. So we need to get that nut off of there, and then we should be able to get that out. Right, we've got that plate off, and that bolt, that nut that I could see there was the other side of that plate, and what was holding it on was these screws here, but there's only 3 of them in there out of the 6. So looking, just get that to the camera, sorry. So we're looking in there, and we can see that there's one bolt there. Now, from what I can remember, these bolts held in this whole section with that front cover on there. So the front cover's come off from the bolts, so the bolts are on the wrong side there. The washers are missing or whatever. So that's, but that's nothing. So just looking inside here, you can see some mustard caps in here. Different caps that was that were in the last one. Got some gaffer tape here holding some wires. Oh dear. Yes, I'm not sure what that's about. So that's going to need a coat of looking at. So yes, it's beginning to look like that Mr. Bodger's been in here. I mean the customer bought this not working, I think, or as it is. We've got to try and restore it and sort it out. Right, let's get that preamp section out, and then we can have a look at that on the bench instead of staring at it through the cabinet. Right, we've got the preamp section here. You can see, if we're just looking in there, let's get this in shot, and straight away you can see we've got this clamp, another clamp. So if you're watching the Melter, I think it was, is the watcher, that's what his YouTube name is, the Melter. If you're watching, we've got another clamp, but I've just taken the clump apart. And that, I'm not sure, what is that? That's the original pilot light, and this is a 240 volt. And so what they've done is they've taken this round to that connector block, and that connector block they've obviously connected into the power on the power amp section. Just realised what that was. That's the original pilot light. Maybe they couldn't get a bulb for it or something. We've got some bulbs for this, but they never really worked. We did try to get some. The thread was different on them, but they were supposed to be the same. Weird bulbs. So yes, that's a bit of a shame they've done that, because if they hadn't have drilled the hole out, we maybe could have returned that to normal, but they've destroyed that now, because the diameter of that is much smaller than that. What a shame. But never mind, we'll have to see what we can do with that. We need that really running off this power supply, which I'm guessing is probably about, now what was the voltage on those? I'm trying to remember now. It wasn't 6 volts, I don't think. We'll look into that. We need to see if we can make good of that. Really botched, that is, really poor. But these things are done on these amps, and they end up coming here and I end up unbodging them. And I make it a quest. Let's get this back to unbodge things, because we want these amps working back to normal and back out there doing what they did 50 years ago. So let's have a look what we've got cap wise then in here. So we've got some caps here, and they will probably need replacing. Got mustard caps here. These can stay, because these are good caps. It's rare you find that these caps are leaking. They're really good, so they can stay. So I'm going to restore this amp, and the customer's okay with me doing that. Whatever this amp needs, we're going to get this amp back up to like new again, and even better if we can. So all of these caps will go. Check some of these resistors. Now there's 2 resistors there being changed. If we look, you can see that one's been topside repaired, so is that one. So are they mods? Having said that, they look the same type of resistors, but definitely work been done on it there. But everything else looks pretty much original. Don't see anything else. So mystery of the clamp solved. And yes, so actually, apart from the pilot light, things don't look too bad in there. You know, no one's been really messing. A couple of resistors changed, but you wouldn't call that anything particularly bad there. So that's okay. Don't see anything else. No. And of course we've got to get some pots for it. So that one's snapped off, that one's snapped off. So they will have to be changed. I think first thing we're going to do, I'm just going to lose these wires, because whatever we're putting in here, we're not having that pilot light, because it's 240 volt. I'm not running that like they've done there on that connector block. That's just tat. So we'll snip those wires off while we've got this open and we're working on it. We don't want those floating around. Get rid of those. Now then, let's get the power amp up and have a look at that. Here's the power amp, and you can see those 2 wires on that connector block there. They've is that in focus? Yes. On there. So we've got the Lemark transformer on there. You can see that's had a bit of a, oh, you can't see, this thing's huge. Let me just get the camera up so we can see a bit better, get it in shot. So you can see this this transformer's had a wallop here somehow. I don't know what's gone on there, but that's obviously been done when it's been out of the case, hasn't it? So that's had a wallop. I can straighten that up though. Speaking of clamps, we've got yet another clamp, a clamp of silicon holding on the pot onto the board. Now these bias boards were burnt through on the other one, and they were much bigger boards, and that had the other two heat sinks on there. One of the problems we had with these amps, and it looks like we've got the same with this, and yet we've got another clamp over here. So this amp is a treble clamp, 3 clamps. But if we go down, and we're going to have to go down and go in. Right, so I'm on the handheld now, on the gimbal. And if we look at that resistor, we can see that he's a mite singed. This was the problem with the others. And the resistors had burnt through the board. That looks very poorly. So we can see that. Whoops, it's because I've zoomed in so much. If we look at the other one, we can find it and just back out, go in. And if we look at the other one, you can see that's also singed. In fact, both of those are all over. So yes, not good, is it? That not good at all. Let's have a look what else while we're in there. Now this capacitor here is also dinted quite badly by the look of it, unless that's how it's supposed to be. Maybe it is, I don't know, but that it's like it all the way around, so I think it is. Either that or someone with considerably stronger hands than me has fitted that and squeezed it too hard. But no, I think that's original. That's just me being daft. Right, so I've turned this over now, and we're looking at the underside there. And the first thing you notice is this is not the original transformer. And I did look at that transformer and think, not sure about that. Well, trying to think about the other one, and I don't remember seeing that type of transformer on it. And as you can see there, it's been fitted by Billy Bodger. And that probably explains why the top of the transformer's all dinted in there, because it's obviously got dinted before it's ended up on this amp. Only 2 of the bolt holes line up. The third one does. I don't know whether that's actually through there or whether that's... I don't think it is. Dear, oh dear. So there's a major problem there. Is that the correct transformer for it? And if it is, can we mount this? And I don't think we can mount this. Certainly not orientated that way, because how bizarre. If I was to move this down to get a hole in here, by the time I've done that, these bolts are going to be in this open section here. So that's a problem. And I don't think we can turn its orientation the other way, because because of the back of this amp, I don't think there's going to be room where those heat sinks are on that back plate. So that's a problem straight away, and a major one. Oh, why, just why? Surely you know, maybe I don't know, maybe the power transformer did go on this, but it doesn't happen often on solid state amps, well, not in my experience. That is just dreadful. What a shame. Why not just have the original transformer rewound? Mind you, then again, you see, it could have been done many years ago when these amps weren't considered particularly valuable. Diodes on here, well, I think we can call that our fourth clamp there. That looks rather messy. Don't like how that's been done. These caps don't look very clever. I wouldn't say there's gumption coming out of them, but they're not far off, which is why we always fire it up on the current limiter, just in case. And we never put full voltage through them, just in case. So yes, that's that. So let's just swing it down, because it's quite a long old thing. And we've got transistor mounted on the back there. That might be a driver, I don't know. And then we've got a resistor here, which is also singed somewhat, and that's all over as well. But that's no big deal. And of course, there's good schematics for these. So a lot of extensive work's going to have to be done on this amp, just basically just to try and find out, you know, is everything in here? Is anything missing? Anything been removed? I'm going to have to do a lot of research on this. We need another transformer for it. That thing just doesn't fit. I just can't see that fitting on there. I mean, we can try it, we can turn it round, but you would have thought they'd tried that. Mind you, then again, maybe not, but I don't think it will. So that's another problem, a major problem to get around. So this amp is very sick, despite it, and yeah, it runs. You know, these old amps, they're amazing things. They just run. You know, all of this is going to have to be sorted out. These resistors are nowhere near big enough to take the current that these. I mean, it's when this amp's turned up as well. Yeah, so yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but I'm sure we can sort it out. And you can see now, if we just ease this back this way, you can see that it doesn't look like that transformer's going to go the other way around, changing the orientation. It doesn't look like it's going to fit in there. And even if it does, it'll be pushed right up to this back plate, and there's wires coming out here for the transistor. We don't want to be trapping those. Not good. So I think we're going to need to find a transformer for it. That actually says something on the top, and I can't see what it says. Something 100. I'm not sure what that says there, but there is some writing on there. So there we go with it then. So we know it runs at least, and there's no major problems as regards it running, although we don't know that about the preamp because we're not actually plugged that in. But I don't see any reason. The preamp's not a massive issue anyway. I certainly wouldn't want to run this amp off the current limiter, no way. You know, while it's on the current limiter, and you know, we've only got 170, 180 volts going through it off the mains, and it's pinned down with the bulbs. You can run it, but certainly won't want to run it without them. It's in no fit state for that. So there we go, big restoration project coming up there, and I don't really see much point in firing it up again. I don't think there's any mileage in that. We basically know it runs. We know the output transformer's good, and but we know that power transformer is definitely not good. It works, but we don't even know if it's the right voltage, and I say that is bouncing around like a ping pong ball on there, so no. And then we need some completely new boards for this, because I can bet diamonds those boards, man, they don't look burnt, but you know, we need some bigger boards, and there's room in here to do them. The last ones that I made them on turrets. I actually got a turret board and made them up. But they need some, you know, these resistors, they need lifting off the board. They need space around them, air around them. These pots, just replace these pots. I think the pots were missing. They'd fixed wired the others. But yeah, we need some bones pots on there, which is what we had on the other one. Yeah, a bit of a mess, that. Bit of a mess. I was hoping to, you know, get the guitar through it and have a bit of a go with it, but I think I can't see much point in that now. So I think that's going to do it for this one. So let me know what you think in the comments, and just before we sign off, let's just see if we can look at these caps for some dates. So you're just looking at that one there. I don't see any date code on that. But anyone recognise any of the writing on there that corresponds to a date, let me know in the comments. So that'll do it for this one. So thanks for watching. You all take good care, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye for now.